Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you own a home, maybe you rent out a property or you manage a commercial space, you really need to listen up because the rules around EICRs, those electrical installation condition reports, are about to undergo a massive shift. And honestly, understanding these changes, it's not just about ticking some compliance box, it's about genuine safety and protecting your hard-earned investments. Let's look at exactly what's changing in October 2026 and how you can get ahead of it right now.
Okay, let's dive right into this. October 2026. Put it in your calendar, because that is the hard deadline we're looking at here. From this exact date, the absolute minimum qualifications required to actually carry out an EICR, they're becoming formally standardized across the board. The legal rules around who is allowed to inspect your properties are going to completely transform.
So here's what we're going to cover today. First, the October 2026 deadline itself. Then, the 3 new qualifications to look out for. After that, we'll hit the risks, fines, and enforcement. Then we'll answer the big question, are old EICRs still valid? Then, how to verify your electricians, and finally, your trusted local solution.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the October 2026 deadline, and how we're redefining the qualified person.
Just to quickly set the stage, let's remember what an EICR actually is. It's an electrical installation condition report, a thorough, systematic inspection. And if you've got rental properties in England, holding a valid EICR has literally been a strict legal requirement since 2020. You have to renew it every 5 years. Now, the law states it must be done by a qualified person, but here's the catch. Until now, the exact definition of a qualified person hasn't actually been strictly defined in statute. But October 2026, that closes that loophole permanently.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds. The 3 new qualifications, basically the brand new standard for electricians.
So come October 2026, any electrician must hold all 3 of these specific qualifications to legally conduct an EICR for you. First up, the Level 3 Diploma in Electrical Installation. That's kind of the core electrical trade building block. Second, the 2391-52 Inspection and Testing qualification. And third, a current 18th edition certificate, sometimes known as BS 7671, which basically proves they are totally up to speed with the absolute latest wiring regulations.
Now, what's really interesting here is that second requirement I just mentioned, the 2391-52. This is the real game changer. You see, this dedicated inspection and testing certification, it's not a standard part of an electrician's core training. Nope, it has to be completed entirely separately. So the reality is, a lot of practicing electricians who are carrying out EICRs right now simply don't have this specific qualification yet. That's exactly why this new regulation is such a huge, meaningful shift.
Moving on to Section 3, risks, fines, and enforcement, or let's call it the true cost of non-compliance. To really understand why this matters, let's look at a real-world example from a residential property in Crawley. From the outside, the property looked absolutely fine, right? The lights turned on, the sockets functioned perfectly. A cursory visual check by a handyman, it would have passed with flying colors. But when a fully qualified engineer came in and conducted a proper, systematic EICR using calibrated test equipment, the story completely changed. They found exposed wiring, incredibly unsafe connections, and electrical work that had just been modified over the years without any proper certification. These hidden dangers are exactly what these new minimum standards are trying to eliminate. And honestly, the stakes for ignoring this are just incredibly high. If a landlord uses an unqualified electrician after the October 2026 deadline, that EICR certificate might just be completely invalid in the eyes of insurers or local authorities. And under the electrical safety standards regulations, this kind of non-compliance can trigger serious enforcement action. We're talking massive financial penalties, up to £40,000. It is for sure a risk that's just not worth taking.
Which brings us to Section 4. Are old EICRs valid? Let's talk transition rules.
This is hands down the most common question we're seeing from landlords and commercial property managers right now. Does my current EICR certificate remain valid after the October 2026 rule change? Because, if the rules are drastically changing, what happens to the EICR you literally just paid for? Does it just suddenly become useless paper?
Well, the good news is no, absolutely not. If you look at this timeline, if your EICR was carried out before October 2026 by a qualified electrician, it remains totally valid for its full 5-year lifespan.
The new requirements only apply to inspections carried out from October 2026 onwards. They're not retroactive. So if you got one done in 2024, it safely bridges right over the rule change until 2029. But, and this is a big but, when it does come time for that renewal in 2029, your chosen electrician must absolutely meet the new, stricter standards.
All right, Section 5, how to verify electricians, specifically checking the NAPIT register. So practically speaking, how do you actually know if your electrician is qualified? Well, the simplest and most reliable way is to check their registration on an accredited public register like NAPIT. But don't just look for their name, you need to check their specific scope of work. Look for domestic electrical inspection for homes or non-domestic electrical inspection for commercial spots. And crucially, this is super important, ensure their registration status is currently active, meaning their qualifications haven't lapsed or expired. So, the crucial point here is knowing exactly what to avoid. A properly qualified, confident electrician is not going to hesitate to confirm they hold that 239152 and the current 18th edition certification. Watch out for any evasive answers. Definitely be wary of unregistered inspectors, general handymen offering to do electrical checks, and EICRs that are priced suspiciously low. I mean, a super low cost usually points to a really quick visual glance rather than the thorough, calibrated inspection the law, and let's face it, your safety actually requires.
And finally, Section 6, your trusted local solution, MS Electrical Solutions.
Look, if you're in the Surrey or West Sussex area and you just want total peace of mind through this transition, MS Electrical Solutions is a fantastic, already compliant local option. They are a NAPIT-accredited contractor based right in Horley, and importantly, they already meet every single one of the stringent October 2026 standards today. They've got the Level 3 diploma, the 18th edition, and yep, that crucial 239152 inspection and testing qualification.
They're fully equipped to handle comprehensive EICR inspections for homeowners, private landlords, and commercial businesses all across the region, whether that's an independent shop in Reigate or a big office in Crawley. They offer a really streamlined service with same-day certification and digital reporting. Plus, if any remedial work is actually needed to get your property up to compliance, they're fully qualified to just carry it out and recertify you right then and there.
And this quote right here brilliantly illustrates their approach. We will confirm our qualifications up front, no questions asked. It's exactly that kind of clear, upfront transparency that removes all the guesswork and provides real reassurance when you're trying to navigate these strict new safety compliances.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one final thought. These regulations, they aren't just tightening to create more annoying paperwork, they're tightening to protect lives and properties from hidden dangers. So you have to ask yourself, when you look at your current EICR certificate, is your property genuinely safe, or is it just compliant on paper? Make sure whoever you hire going forward has the right tools, the right training, and those new qualifications. Thanks so much for joining me today, and take care of your properties out there.